to you. You mentioned in your presentation about the tremendous growth in the Southwest. I represent Las Vegas, as you know, so I can attest to that. We've got 2 million people and over 42 million tourists who come there every year. We want to invite you out to see for yourself the challenges we face. I'm sure my colleague, Mr. Hardy, and I would be glad to host you if you will come and see us. It's not news to you either that I'm going to keep pushing for I-11 and for a reopening of Amtrak between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. But today my questions are a little different. I want to ask you about autonomous vehicles. I know you recently rode in the Google car in Southern California. Nevada is one of the few states that has enacted legislation to allow for the testing and driving of automatic vehicles. But I don't want us to get behind the curve like the FAA has done with autonomous aerial vehicles. The industry for drones is so far ahead of government that we're losing out to other countries. So I would ask you to kind of address what you see as Department of Transportation's role moving forward with that technology. And my second question, this is something you also acknowledge in your Grow America proposal, has to do with the importance of travel and tourism. Certainly those agencies like convention authorities that oversee travel and tourism are greatly affected by transportation decisions, but they don't play much of a role in the whole planning process. So I wonder if you might address how we could do a better job of incorporating their needs and their expertise in that process.
So two things. We take a very strong lean-in position on technology in the Grow America Act, and I think the President's budget speaks to this with significant investments in automation, and some of that is about understanding and working with industry to develop the pathway for these technologies to find their way into the marketplace. But some of it also has to do with trying to start addressing some of the unknowns around, how connected vehicles actually connect to each other, working with industry to come up with ways to make that a reality. There are examples of cars like the Google car that's autonomous that isn't connected, doesn't need the connection to function. And so we've got to develop the same kind of apparatuses that states like California have begun to do, and we need to think about the federal role there, and that's what some of these investments will help us do. On your other question about,
Travel and tourism.
Travel and tourism, there's several places where our bill, I think, helps. And one of the most important ones is that a lot of the idea generation for projects comes at the local and state level. And so the more we can connect the inputs into that process to economic growth and economic development, the more output we're going to get in terms of supporting travel and tourism and other critical parts of our economy. So this idea of encouraging local communities to form MPO systems that are regional in nature, that actually have resources to get projects done, and that bring in not only the urban core, but the suburban and the rural areas around them to work together and think together about how they want to define themselves. I think that's an opportunity for the travel and tourism industry to play a real role in getting real things done on the ground.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because so often the great bulk of the federal dollars go to state agencies to be distributed. Mr. Davis and I have a bipartisan bill that we're introduced again this year to bring more of that decision-making to the local level, which would include stakeholders from the business community, tourism, and other bodies like that. So if you take a look at it, we'd appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yield back.
Thank you, gentlelady. And with that, recognize Ms. Comstock, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.